I want to ask you a question today, and here it is. What do you daydream about? Hope that's not invasive. And to be honest, I don't really want to know your answer. And you don't want to know my answer, but I know the answer for me, and I hope you know the answer for you. And if you think that's an odd question, just remember that the average American spends 47% of their waking hours daydreaming. That means that for every 16 hours we're up, almost 8 of them are consumed with us getting on a thought that's on point, and it reminds us of something, and we take off, we go another direction, we go another direction, we're down a rabbit trail, down a rabbit hole, and then we have to pull ourselves back. So what exactly are you daydreaming about these days? Well, if you lost a vacation last year because of COVID restrictions, you might be daydreaming about a family trip to Disney. Man, that'd be a blast. Or you might be daydreaming about winning the lottery so that you can pay off all your debts. That's nice. Get rid of that house payment, those car payments. Or you might be daydreaming about being a famous athlete or a famous musician. One of my grandsons recently said to me, Pops, I'm going to be a famous soccer player one day. And when I become one, what do you want me to buy you? Because I'll be a millionaire. I just laughed. I said, I don't really know. He goes, seriously, house, car, what do you want? You see, even at 9 years old, he's daydreaming. That's what he wants to do. That's what he wants to be. We all daydream. And we do because we're human and we have human hopes and desires. It's just natural. And those desires always start with something that is really good initially. Like if you're really wanting to go to Disney World, well, that means you want family time. If you want to win the lottery, it's so you can have financial freedom. If you want to be famous, it's so that you can be known, so you can be seen, so you can be valued. And while I don't think the odds for either winning the lottery or being famous are real high, I think it's great to want to pay off debt, and I hope you can. I think it's great to be known and to want to be known, and I hope you are. The problem with all these good things that are at the root of our daydream is that over time, these hopes and desires take on a dark side. You begin asking them to give you a meaning in life, purpose in life, to save you from emptiness, to make you feel important. And at that moment, they become our gods. They become what ancient cultures used to call idols. And we bow before them and we actually allow them to tell us what to do and when to do it. Well, I don't think you want to be enslaved to something beyond you that's telling you what to do and when to do it. So I'm going to talk to you today about how to break free from some of these idols. Because I believe that what you daydream about today may well become your idol tomorrow. Now, in 2021, the word idol is almost never used. I realize that. None of us has ever seen one personally. We may have seen a picture of one or something from the British Museum that's an ancient Mesopotamian idol, but we don't see anything like that. But what if idols today look different? What if instead of being made out of stone and metal and wood and looking like little small totem poles, what if they're all around us and they're disguised? And what if actually they're the heart of our daydreams? I think an idol is anything that you depend upon for happiness, anything that you count on to give you meaning, anything you demand will save you from emptiness. If you can't bear the thought of losing it, it may well be an idol. Now, I think in our world in 2021, there are several idols that we're vulnerable to. Let me name 3 of them. The first is possessions. Well, let's start by saying possessions can be great. I mean, owning something is just fine. Your house, your car, a boat, stereo system, whatever it is, these things are good. But when it owns you, of course, it's become your idol. So how do you know if your idols if your possessions have become your idols? Well, first off, I think you begin to say, I want more. This is true for me. I say, well, I have enough, but I'd like a little bit more. Well, I've got a little bit more. Well, I'd like a lot more. Okay, I've got a lot more, so I want a whole lot more. Do you do that? I want more blank, fill it in. Or uh, if I were to lose that, I might say, I'd be miserable. You would not want to be around me. Just ask my wife. If I lose that, I'm a pathetic person to be around. So what's the cure? The only cure to this idol of possessions is to give. Did you know that every time we give, we are really cutting the cord of the idolatry of possessions, of greed? Surveys show that the most happy people in the world are generous people. No surprise, Jesus said, blessed is more blessed to give than to receive. And blessed means happy. It's more happy. You're more happy when you give than when you receive. Adam Grant, a brilliant sociologist that you've probably read, the leadership expert, has written a book called Givers and Takers, Give and Take. And it's just story after story, research after research, validating the fact that people who give are happier. I hope you find that kind of happiness. Second, I think it's easy to fall for pleasure as a false god or as an idol. Now, there's nothing wrong with pleasure. Thank God for the five senses we have to enjoy this world. I love the fact that I can taste Bluebell Cookie Two-Step. What's your favorite ice cream? That's what I'm talking about. I love the fact that you and I can hear our favorite music form, that we can see, what is it, the sunset, the sunrise, beautiful animals, stars in the sky at night. I love that we can smell our favorite flower, that we can get a hug or a kiss from our favorite child or all of our children. Don't tell your child you have a favorite. Just, when they come up and give you a hug, you know what I mean. Pleasure is a great gift, but when you end up worshiping it and bow before it, and it tells you what to do and when to do it, it has become an idol. So, how do you know if you're idolizing pleasure? Well, here are the kind of things that I find myself saying. What I watch on my computer is my business and no one else's. Or, what's the big deal about a first date that ends in a sleepover? That's the case for everybody. The only cure I know for us giving into pleasure and allowing it to tell us what to do, where to get off, and it owning our lives is fidelity. The word means faithfulness. Now, it looks different for singles and for marrieds. For singles, fidelity means cultivating intimacy without sex. Now, that's got to sound crazy in our culture because most people today identify sex with intimacy. They think that if you've had sex, you've been intimate. If you're intimate, it means sex. That's not true at all. If you're a dad and you have little kids, you know that when you hold them in your arms, when they jump up on your back and you're laughing, carrying them around the room, when you're wrestling with them on the floor in the den, in all those moments, there's an intimacy because you're sharing your soul. That's what intimacy is. Of course, there's no sex. That's crazy. On the other hand, if a guy and a girl hook up because they just simply want to have sexual release, well, there's sex. There might be good sex, but you know what there's not? Intimacy. In fact, that's what the movie Pretty Woman was all about. The Julia Roberts character would never give intimacy, even if she gave sex. So you see, sex and intimacy are different things. Jim Johnson, a good friend of mine who's also speaking on this channel, says to be sure and reserve ultimate intimacy for ultimate commitment when it comes to sex. Now, for marrieds, it means covenant loyalty to one person. And I always add in my own mind with a little bit of a smile, even when the sex is unremarkable. As you know, Hollywood message to us is this: everything in life should be remarkable. Everything. A sunset should be the most beautiful in the history of the world. And your taco lunch should be the most fabulous in the history of the world. And every sexual encounter should be the most incredible ever, that people would write stories about that one encounter. And of course, the implication is, if in your marriage, for example, the sex has become, say, unremarkable from time to time, it's a good time to leave your spouse. Now, that's wrong. Listen, things are not all remarkable and incredible. I know that because you're alive today, despite the fact that the vast majority of the meals you've eaten, thousands of them, are unremarkable. Some are worth writing home about, but most simply powered and fueled you for life, and you're alive today because of that. So don't think that sex has to be incredible for a marriage to be good. No. You can work on your sex life, and the more intimate you are with your spouse, and by intimate, I mean sharing your soul, really who you are, the better the sex will be. All right, third, I think we are very vulnerable to idolizing power. Now, power is a good thing, and I'm so glad that we have limited but very real power in this world. Power to create things, to allow things, power to prevent things, to limit things. By the way, if you've never read Henry Cloud's book, Boundaries for Leaders, check it out because he talks about that as a leader, you have the power to create things, but you have the power to allow things. And there are things happening in your business that you're allowing or in your home that you don't need to allow. That's power that you have. But when you and I use the gift of power to lift ourselves up and put others down, it's become an idol. So how do you know if you're idolizing power? Well, when you say and think things like, I can't stand it when I don't get my way. Or if everyone thinks I have a problem with control, hey, that's their problem. You can see how those would point to us idolizing power. The only cure I know is to serve. To serve another person means actually that we simply try to make their lives better. We use the power we have to lift them up, whatever that means, in as many practical ways as we possibly can. Don't think power is wrong. Don't try to avoid power. No, it's a gift. Just use it to love and to serve others. I know you can figure out how to apply this to family, in your neighborhood, at your work. And so are you powering up and trying to control people? Or are you showing unselfish love to serve? Well, I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I'm trying to appeal to your brain. You have a good brain. Think about this. I hope this is helpful. And let me know your thoughts on it. And thanks especially for watching. If you liked what I've shared, then be sure and give it a thumbs up. And for more content that's similar to this, just click on the subscribe button below and you'll be notified when more videos release. And check out our channel for videos on other topics like marriage, like parenting, like sex. If it's important to you, we're hoping to address it. Thanks again.